High hopes right here on Jam Sessions with our guests this week, like a motorcycle. Thanks again for making the trek down and getting stuck in traffic and all that bullshit. That's something that we don't really deal with here in New Glasgow is traffic.
Not often, unless there's serious
Unless there's
construction.
like
It was cathartic for us. We're like, oh great, we're back in traffic. We're stuck on the way out of the city. Mini tour.
And actually, to that point, you guys, as like a motorcycle, have not been performing live in some time with the Way of the World.
Yeah, we played one show in the last 2 years.
Year and almost 2 years. It'll be one show in 2 years in December.
Yeah. So yeah, we played one show since the pandemic began at a barbecue restaurant in Truro, Nova Scotia.
You know it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did that make things more difficult that you were releasing an album in the middle of it? I'm assuming.
We kind of had the option to like hold on to it,
Sure.
or not. And we were like, why? Like, you know, our last album, Thank You for Just Playing a Song Off It, came out, you know, well, at this point, 5 years ago, but
Crazy, right?
it came out in 2016, yeah. So we were just like, we held on to it for probably 6 months later. Then we were going to put it out, and we were like, we don't know what the forecast for this
Sure,
is.
exactly, yeah.
We might as well
Thank
just
you
do
so
it, and, you know, hopefully by
in
the
the
time...
end, it was probably the right decision because you'd still be sitting on it with no...
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have no idea when would be the right
Basically.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, it feels like a bit of a tree, if a tree falls in the forest type thing, but I do have faith that once we do get back out on the road, you know, it will resonate. We're a live band, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
so,
And that's also one of the reasons we like haven't played really. It's like we're not the type of band people want to sit in a room.
No,
you
you
know,
are
it's like
fucking
it's
not.
loud.
eat some
if
steak
there's
and
not a lot of
potatoes
people,
while they're
it's-
watching us.
Right.
It's just we're just gonna rattle the windows
Yeah.
and like. It's just a little bit disappointing, I think, to go
Yeah.
see a punk band in these
In a
circumstances.
sit-down environment.
Yeah.
And especially when we want to have like an album release, we just put this record and we want people to hear it the way it's like intended to
Absolutely.
be played, you know? So
Live, loud, angry
Exactly.
in
Yeah,
your face.
totally, yeah. Whiskey guns.
yeah, we yeah, just trying not to do ourselves a disservice, but I mean, who knows what?
Yeah.
So is there any rumblings of anything in the future, or is it still... I know it's very... I mean, realistic, it's
Yeah.
very uncertain right now. We could be going the opposite direction the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We don't really know.
Well, you know, if this is coming out next Friday, we
Yep.
can tell you we're playing Huff, so we're playing the Halifax Urban Folk Fest on
Cool.
September 4th
Yo.
at Parade Square downtown in Halifax.
Are you guys going to be like the heaviest band at a folk festival?
We always are.
We always are. We're not entirely sure. I think we are opening for someone who is much quieter than us, but we're always happy.
We're
to
also
be
that band.
sonically
I'm in a band. We're
standing
that
out.
band.
Yeah.
When everybody else is playing acoustic acts, we get up and go, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, well, people don't. That's the other thing. Is like people don't really know where to place us a lot of the time because like our music is quite loud, but then we're up there like doing harmonies and stuff. So we're either
Right.
on like the metal stage and we stick out, or we're on the rock stage and we stick out. And
Yeah.
That actually makes me think of something that I've had a brief conversation with him about the identity of the band. Now,
Right.
when you guys first started off, well, for Kim, it was you, Michelle, and Jillian.
Yeah.
And I do somewhat recall when it happened. Like, I remember you guys playing Glasgow Square.
yeah, for
And,
pride.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it, is
Yeah.
that I was aware at the time that there's an association with that culture.
Mhm.
And as the band's progressed, that's still there. But has that kind of... Like, how do you guys like to be identified? Because where it came up with Jeff is ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I'm reading your interviews earlier, you guys... And it might have been you even that said...
Don't call us
don't-
ladies.
Like, people still call us ladies and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the identity of the band, because I will be honest, if somebody says, well, who's like a motorcycle, I was like, oh, it's this girl punk band.
Right.
Right.
Like, and I will absolutely say that,
Yeah.
but I'm fully aware that Dave's in the band.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like And I feel like this has resonated throughout like different parts of my life, especially like growing up being like a young female skater who like had sponsors and stuff like that and was always like a really good skater, and also like female musicians who are just like kind of in the loud scene and stuff. And I mean, tell me if you disagree with this, but I feel like, yeah, of course you will. But I feel like for a really long time, we kind of pushed against that kind of thing.
Yep.
Because, you know, I feel like as women who have like often occupied like male dominant spaces and like at a cost, you know, being like, especially like being like young queer women and stuff, whether it's in the skateboarding scene or whatever, it's like, I feel like for so long I'm just like, no, I'm just a fucking skateboarder, or no, I'm just a fucking musician.
Yeah.
And just like being so angry about that. And I feel like in recent years I have been able to kind of like step back from that and be like, you know what, actually, despite the fact that it's not all of my identity, because it's like, you know, aside from the girls, it's like I'm not really super in the queer community, and like I'm, you know, and it's like I don't know, I used to like get so mad in interviews because I'm like, well, we all pick our nose, but you don't call us a fucking nose picker band.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
I get so mad, but
Yeah.
I feel like in recent years I've really like come to a place where I realized that a lot of that was kind of like internalized homophobia and maybe like, you know, internalized sexism and like things like that, where it's like now, for me at least, I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable being like, yeah, we're a fucking queer female band and fuck you. And, you know, whereas before I was just like, no, like view me like everyone else and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm not like everyone else. And it's taken me a long time to kind of be like, you know, that doesn't need to occupy this huge part of my identity. But at the same time, I do think I need to like show up and like, I don't think I need to push against
You can
it as
acknowledge
hard.
it without saying that like, this is me.
And also, I
'Cause
don't need
you're
to be like,
this.
fuck you for
Totally.
calling us a female band, because it's like, we are a female band. And like,
Right.
I feel like for the longest time, I tried to think about it in like this, like, which is probably like a problematic mindset of like kind of a post-sexism or like a post-gender world. And it's like, not everyone's there. And like, I need to step back and be like, you know what? That's great and ideal. But also, there are a lot of struggles that other female musicians, especially female musicians who aren't as like, you know, not that we're like masculine presenting people, but I feel like we're not looking for male approval. Like we don't,
Yes.
you know, it's like we don't care about those things. So I feel like for so long we've been able to be like, well, fuck you, we don't care. Like we're not catering to men in any way. But then also like recognizing the fact that like lots of our peers that are female musicians deal with a lot of things that like we don't have to deal with because we don't fucking care, or like not even care. It's just like people wouldn't pull a lot of the same shit on us. And I feel like we do need to make more space to be like, you know what? We'll fight those people that treat you like that.
These are
you
the lessons I'm trying to teach my daughters. So girls, if you're listening,
know?
play
Was that the group
part
of teenagers
back and a
leaving
little
earlier?
bit louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, two of them are mine. Or one of them is mine. Two of them are
Okay,
his.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
cool. Yeah.
to that point,
Yeah.
and kind of from my perspective, like, and not everybody's like me either, but I never had a problem with any of that stuff, and I don't accredit it to any particular teachings or anything. It's just I never understood what the difference was, because when I hang out with a new person or something, it's about I'm not worried about how they're identifying or anything.
Yeah.
And like now that we're in 2021 and everyone's super careful about that stuff, which I may be a little older than you guys, but in the 90s...
Probably not as older than us
Yeah.
than you as you think. Everyone thinks we're babies. But
In the 90s...
We just
and you
reached
may
a new age
recall, it was
bracket.
very
We just
PC,
look
right?
good, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly.
you. It's
You
from
look
all the
much younger
smoking
than
and
I do.
drinking we've been doing.
It's doing wonders. But where we're in that culture right now, like even right here in this room, you've got 3 single, straight, white males,
Dads.
but we're all dads of girls.
Yeah.
So like we can't identify with how it is to be that way,
Yeah.
but we can completely relate on the
you
case
can
of it has to be
empathize, yeah.
okay. Like, it
Empathize
has
and
to be okay.
highlight what the messaging and those types of things, right? For sure.
Yeah, and I think for us for a long time, you know, it was kind of like, well, we don't want to be identified in any way that isn't just like neutral musician.
Yeah,
and,
we're
like,
punk rockers.
Yeah.
You know, leave it at that, and that's great.
but
And
also it,
yeah, there's a lot of people who need representation, you know, I guess more than we do, you know, and
Yeah.
if we can be, you know, not advocates, but if we can like make those people feel like part of a community or part of something, that's great. Like, I agree with you. It's like, for me, just to speak for myself, it's like, I'm pretty androgynous, but I identify as female, and I'm very comfortable with that. But I'm also, when people mistake me for a dude, I'm also very comfortable.
Or gay bash you.
Yeah, well, not that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone's like, "Thank you, sir,"
I relate.
I'm kind of flattered, honestly. I'm like, great. So I don't have that like struggle with like my identity in the same way some people do. So I think I almost, when I was younger, I didn't realize like how important like how you identify is, you know.
Sure.
And now that I'm older, you know, not everyone's having the same experience as me. So if someone can look at us and say, "Oh, it's great. Like, those people are comfortable identifying however they do. This is a safe space."
Or like talking vulnerably about stuff too, like stuff that isn't specific to us as like women or queer women or whatever, but like stuff that is specific to us is like people that grew up in like abusive households and like just trying to be, you know, like earlier when you said like you feel like you're at the point of almost being creepy because you deep dived us so much, is like the fact that like we
have the wherewithal.
Yeah, and like we put out information very intentionally about ourselves because we, like, I feel, and like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I feel like a big part of our brand and identity is just being like, hey, this is who we are.
Yeah.
Like, do you relate with that, or like is this something you can glean something from, or just like just being really open about who we are as people, because like, you know, I do not feel like a lot of our following are like fans. I feel like they're people that we've connected with that we're like have become friends with from touring around so much and stuff that are just like, yo, I get that.
Good
or like,
perspective.
yeah, this like really shitty thing like helped me see through my shitty thing or whatever. So like we try and be really open about our struggles and our substance abuse struggles and our abusive family struggles, and you could go down the fucking list for a mile, but it's like, why would we hide those things, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's like
It is absolutely something that has made us who we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got through that. We're now stronger because of it. So fuck yeah, we want to tell our story.
And it's like, I'm all for people that, you know, have polished images and stuff, but yeah, we're not really trying to do that. We're just trying to be like, hey, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We're your band next door.
Yeah.
The band next door. And hey, kudos to you guys, because that is absolutely the vibe. That like ever since I found out who Like a Motorcycle was, when I saw this name printed on the side of the commune door one night, I was like,
also, we love the commune. We heard they're coming back.
They're back.
It's reopened
yeah,
now.
fucking Derek rules. We love that dude.
And Jenna, absolutely.
Yeah, Jenna.
So have you guys heard of Shoebox Studios as well?
That sounds familiar to me.
So Shoebox Studios is upstairs. The commune is downstairs, and they're in where the old CKEC radio station used to be.
Okay.
So you've already got soundproof rooms and wired and cabled and everything else, right?
We used to like always do the trip to come down here to.
Oh,
like,
yeah, you did.
They would treat us
So-
very well. I loved playing there.
That's the seeing this name, because I mean, I want to talk about where it comes from here in a minute, because I think I have an idea, but maybe I'm fucking way wrong.
You're probably
You're
right.
right.
I'm probably wrong. But that band next door vibe and feeling that you guys are saying that maybe that's what you are is working for sure, because you are so approachable and so relatable. It's like we're friends before we even met, right? Oh, we're always friends when we leave jam sessions.
Yeah.
But before I even met you, I was like, I could totally be friends with these people. But, like, it's thank
really
you for
sweet.
kicking
I
ass.
appreciate that.
No, fuck you guys, kick ass. I go
That's
ahead.
what I was getting at with reading the interviews, and the fact that you guys have a lot of web content too, right? Like, so when you're sitting there
much
watching
content.
it all, and it's not just with you guys, but I find that if I start deep diving somebody, by the time I'm done, I'm sitting here with a piece of paper, but I kind of know who I'm talking
all
to,
our friends.
and I know I know who you're hanging around with.
Yeah, you know drunk mom.
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to ask. Actually, one of those rock and roll roundups.
Yeah.
you had Partner on there.
Yeah.
So did you guys meet them in 2017 at the Halifax Pop Explosion?
We did.
I was at the show.
Okay.
So when I saw that Partner was on there, I'm like, oh, I like them. I was like, oh, they
Oh,
played
wait. Was
together.
it 2016?
It was 2017. I
Okay,
went, and
no,
you guys
we were
both
friends
there.
with them
Previous?
by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah.
we did meet them at a pop explosion
Okay.
because we had a band photo where all of us were in a bubble bath together. And then
Yeah.
our friend Peter, who used to be one of the owners of Tide House, we were chatting
Okay.
about the beer they made earlier before the cameras were rolling. But our friend Peter just sent us a video and was like, these girls jacked your steez, but listen to this song, please. And it was their song Hash Knives, and they were in a bubble bath.
Yes.
And I was like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah.
I love
We
them.
Yeah,
got-
I
these
know
are
the
our
song,
friends
Yeah,
now.
so then they were opening for Alves, and I'm not gonna talk shit on Alves. I think they're really cool, but also Molly Rankin's solo stuff was the coolest, and I feel like
We
she
digress.
stripped away a lot of her quirkiness. But I went and I'm like, what's Molly Rankin's new project? Blah blah blah. Partners opening up for them, and then we watched them, and we were just like so smitten and enthralled.
Yeah.
And then they got off stage, and we were just like, you guys want to come smoke a bunch of weed
Yeah,
at our
we're
house?
gonna
We
party
could do
with
some
us
hot
now."
knives,
For our
and then
friends.
we've just owned them ever since.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Jose
beyond
lived in
family.
our house for like
Yeah.
3 months one summer.
Yeah.
Like, we are quite good friends with them at
Um,
this point. Yeah.
yeah, but it was just kind of like, you know, we had the weed. We knew that they wanted the weed, and we've
And a
been
friend
friends
with weed
ever
is a
since.
friend.
Well, yeah,
Indeed.
we did a couple of Sappy Fests. Well, when we became really close, we went to Sappy Fest all together, and like that was like the craziest week
Yeah.
of our lives. Just like just being fucked up with those guys.
Yeah, Jose
Yeah.
basically just came and stayed in our house for like, it was supposed to be a week, but I think she was there for almost 2 months. And
Yeah, we would like go away on tour. It was a long time. We like went on like I think we went overseas.
yeah, we
at one
no,
point
we would have
came
played
back.
Hillside Fest in Ontario and came back, and we're like, oh, you're
Are you
still here?
Yeah,
Great. We love that you're here. But yeah, those are good buds. Lucy
Yeah.
was in town last weekend, actually.
Oh.
But yeah, great buds.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Love the two of them so much.
Yeah.
Let me throw this next question at the two of you.
Yeah.
Where has Like a Motorcycle taken you that you didn't think it would at this point?
Everywhere.
Geographically,
So the answer is
career-wise,
not to jail.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Not either of us.
Yeah, not either of us.
And that is
Um,
a cap on that. Fuck, where have
Just,
we
just
been?
for the listeners, that's why there's only 2 members of the band here tonight.
That's-
The
Yeah,
other 2 have been
exactly.
detained.
Yeah,
I mean-
exactly. yeah. We
I know
couldn't
it's
get
a
through
joke,
the
but
Truro
it's
border.
happened before. All right, we've been to the UK.
Well, I think one of my favorite places was, I mean, besides Germany.
We don't
I
like
love
being
Germany,
in the UK. We've been there a few times.
Yeah,
it's not
um,
the best.
But we went to Estonia, which was like really cool.
Being in
my
Estonia
opinion.
was like being inside of a snow globe. Everything was just like
Wow.
this beautiful,
Full
quaint little stone old town. city.
beautiful gay people. It was like they have the highest per
Here she
capita
goes.
in the world of supermodels.
Oh, yeah.
Come from Estonia.
89% of them are gay.
Yeah, well, like
Thank you,
Russia
Jesus.
like occupied Estonia till like the 90s,
90s,
I
yeah,
guess. So then
or
by the
something.
time they got their independence, they were like, fuck the church. Fuck, basically just like fuck anything that was normative. And
Retaliation
like,
time.
yeah, just a bunch of like pretty awesome, like left wing nutcase
Yeah.
people. And we had quite a good time
Oh,
there.
we had an amazing time
Um,
there. And it's a beautiful
Germany, we've toured
beautiful-
Germany like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Or toured around Germany like 3 or 4 times.
We've had a really
We had
good
an,
time
we
in
had an
Germany.
awful time in Poland.
Yeah,
We had a great time in
Poland is
where's
the exact
Helsinki? What
opposite
country is
of
that?
Finland.
Finland.
Yeah.
We had a good time in
Yeah.
Finland.
I could just imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Poland
took a
was also
ferry,
like a
but-
bit
So-
of a like
So
weird thing.
why Poland? Why does it suck?
Well, when we were in Poland, we were literally there when they were voting. They were like in the second round of 3 rounds of voting to completely like criminalize abortion.
Whoa.
like
And-
take it back
Yeah.
from people. Like it
Yeah.
was legal, and they were trying to like take it
Say it
away.
Like
Yeah.
you've had an abortion, we're gonna charge you, kind of deal.
Well, like-
Oh,
Or
like you
you
would
can't
have to go
ever-
out of country and do
Man,
it secretively.
agency
Yeah.
over
Depends on-
oneself.
and if
is
Yeah.
huge
if
for
they
me.
found out you left the country to get an abortion, you'd go to jail.
Or the only legal way to get an abortion was if you could prove you were raped. But
Nope.
then if you went and reported that and then you ended it up not you end up going somewhere else. Like, it was just crazy. But we showed up, and Jill was still in the band, so just like the 4 fucking ragtag group of us. And I showed up with my fucking shirt on that I always wear that just says abort everyone. And it was instantly an issue at the bar we were at. Like, not planned. I just think it's a funny shirt.
Oh, KT.
Very Catholic. Like, we were in a cab with,
buddy.
like, you know, like Virgin Marys hanging from, like, the rear view mirrors and cab
It
drivers
was just a
looking
lot of
like they were going
old
to
white
drive us off
religious
the
men that
road.
all looked like thumbs, and they did not enjoy us. But we did have a lot of, like, we made a lot of friends there.
Yeah, that's
as
true,
well.
yeah.
But I feel like it was just a really tense environment, and like
Okay.
Warsaw is a
What
beautiful
was the
city.
performance like there then? If you were
I
there
was-
for a show,
It was weird. We played like this thing. I think it was through like SEMA, which is like another like music organization within like overarching in Canada, and we were there kind of playing a SEMA stage with a few other bands from around Canada, and yeah, the people that showed up were great. The bartenders, I don't think liked us unless like the way you show that you like
Sure.
people is to roll your eyes and say Canadiana under your breath. But I don't know. Still, it was
Yeah.
Michelle's birthday.
We had a
We
good
tried to
time.
make
The
the best of
promoter
it.
was
Yeah.
really...
We went bowling the next night though,
That's
and
true.
bowling was fun. Poland bowling, highly recommended.
Yeah.
Small balls like Canada, or like the 3-finger large balls like the USA?
They had big balls. Apparently, the small balls is like an Eastern
Yeah,
Canada
Yes,
thing.
yes,
Yeah.
Which
very
I
Eastern
didn't know.
thing.
We were
Yeah.
like bowling out west when we were recording our album with Howard, and we were like, "Oh, big ball
Oh,
bowling!"
Flintstone
We were so
bowling.
excited. And we
Yeah.
were like,
Everyone's
"What are
like,
you guys
"Fuck are
going
you
on
talking
about?"
about?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
an adult when the first time I realized, and
Yeah.
I'm like, should I have known this?
I had no idea. I just like would see Homer Simpson bowling with the big ball, and I'm like, "Oh, American, I guess."
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but yeah, apparently we're all freaks. We have juice bags, small
Milk
bowl
bags.
balling.
Yeah.
Fucking
milk bags, pizza
weirdos.
burgers.
So in that era, you guys met the music supervisor for Gotham.
Gotham.
I was reading
Yeah.
about that too.
You go. I'm talking a lot.
No,
You know all the stories I have. We have the same
No.
brain.
We live the same life.
Yeah,
I'm just feeding
pretty
them
much.
to you telepathically.
We're not roommates anymore, but we still complete each other's.
Lay it,
sentences.
lay it on us.
Yeah.
Where are
No,
you?
I
How
mean,
did that happen?
We were just playing an ECMA showcase, and you know, honestly, kind of a crapshoot. And
It was a crapshoot. It was
Um,
in Sydney.
we just that person happened to be in the audience, along with a couple other people, and they came up, and we were like, "Yeah, let's like have a drink." Like,
Yeah.
there's
And lucky for us, I
This is
used to work.
true.
I worked at Propeller Brewery for like 7 years.
Yummy.
Mhm.
And I just happened to bring a keg of beer to our hotel room.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "Why don't you come have a drink? We have a keg." And
yeah. I mean, that was it. It's like I think this is a story that
Life got
how we
twisted
got on
upside
Gotham.
down.
But it's again, it goes back to that whole thing where like this person, they liked our show, they liked our music, but they also
They
we
became
had
our friend.
they became our friend, and you know they fought really hard, not fought, but they went back and they
Advocated.
looked for that spot, you know, that our song would fit,
Yeah.
and they wanted to give us that opportunity, and it just comes down to like being in a room with the right people and then being nice. Honestly,
Yeah.
like that's what it comes
It's a
down
long
to.
way, man.
having 20 liters of beer probably helped.
It did
too.
help,
Absolutely.
but yeah.
But
So-
also, just being you guys, I think, is probably what knocked the ball out of the park. Let's be real. You know, stop it. No, I'm just being honest.
You tricked them by
honest.
becoming friends instead of just asking for a favor.
We offer
Come
our
back to our
friendship.
lair.
But I mean, that's kind of how a lot of it's worked. It's like we are
Mm-hmm.
now with a label that, like, you know, the publicist for the label years ago worked for different companies, and like
Sure.
we were kind of like her first almost like A&R.
So it's like a
band for the label.
organic networking, or
Yeah, her
more
name's
so
Erin
than
Carroll. She's just like they actually are just like a cool queer from Ontario, and you know, we made friends with them years ago.
Yeah,
and
they'd
then,
come out here for festivals and stuff,
Yeah.
and then when they got this job at the label and they knew we were going to put out a record, they again were just like, I want to get like you in a room with this band, you know, like took you know these people to a show when we were playing in Toronto, and like that's
yeah.
kind of how it happens. And on the flip side, for us, it's like we want to work with people who are nice and cool too. Like we
Sure.
don't want to
Yeah.
work with people who we don't align with. You know, like it goes a long way to be on the same page, and then everyone can feel good about what they're doing.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I got a famous saying, infamous saying, that the only way that we can shine bright is by holding each other up to the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True.
Build legs under people. Don't knock them down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
All
Yeah.
boats float in a rising tide, man.
So
Yeah,
aside
buddy.
from all the networking opportunities of that, are you guys by any chance fans of comics or Batman by any chance, or was it just was it an extra thing that you also were a fan of the show or anything? Or?
Well, oddly
it's
enough,
not on anymore, so you can say whatever you want.
yeah, I mean, oddly enough, Kim and I somehow went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know. We were just scraping around on Netflix.
Well,
guess,
when I was a
we
kid,
started
I
watching
was a
Gotham
really
together.
big Batman fan.
Yeah.
Like when I was a really little kid, and I lived with my aunt and uncle a lot of the time, because you can only be a 6-year-old missionary so many months out of the year. My parents did decide I had to go to school, which was a blessing.
Good for them.
So I lived with my aunt and uncle like quite a lot, and thank God bless them, best kind. But I would watch like the '60s Batman and Robin.
Switchback, by any chance? Because they used to play reruns on Switchback.
CBC.
Yeah,
Switchback?
totally,
Yeah,
yeah. And that was my favorite show as a kid. I loved it. Like I looked forward to that, and that kept. I wasn't like a comic book reader or anything, but
Sure.
I always kind of like loved watching the cartoons and obviously that show. And so when this came out, I was definitely interested. I like the Batman world,
Yeah. And we were really into Shameless at the time, so when like the first Joker.
Yeah.
USA,
yeah.
USA
That's
or
that ginger
UK?
boy.
Yeah.
USA or UK Shameless?
Are we?
US.
We were
US.
watching the US
Same,
one.
same actor.
Yeah.
Was Joker.
know.
I kind of
but,
stopped watching
man.
around when the baby did the cocaine. I was like, I only have so many fingernails I can
Yeah.
bite off. I need to chill on this show.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, just 6-year-old you would have been proud that you're now in canon. Like a Motorcycle is classic rock.
Yeah.
Because Batman's a kid. So, as an adult,
Exactly. It
that
was
means
full
you guys are
circle for
classic
me.
rock
Yeah.
in the DC universe.
No, it was
I'll
exciting.
take
It
it.
was exciting. I mean, it wasn't like I mean, any placement's great. Obviously, you want the exposure, you want the money, most of all. But being on that show was a big deal for me. I was pumped for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Although the flip side of that is we had so many people over for a viewing party.
And it was I went back to watch.
Oh
where
yeah,
it
you
was.
couldn't hear it. It was like in the background during like a
yes.
boxing club, like
It's
fight
also
scene.
You
before
did-
the show even starts. It's like the part they play before the credits even come in,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
the intro. I'm pretty sure,
So
wasn't it?
the viewing party just
It was
erupted
like the
into a
background
drinking party
during
for-
a conversation kind of
So
thing.
we had
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
shots
But it was
set out.
bookended with like a bunch of fights with music
Yeah,
playing
Yeah.
the whole
it
time.
was
I'm like,
really cool.
It
But
was
also
like-
like God love them and like God love music supervisors because like I mean I also admittedly watch a lot of garbage like trash like reality TV.
Yeah.
I don't know
Same.
why.
Like,
Yeah,
like
hands
below
down.
deck
Guilty pleasure.
Mediterranean
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh, I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
trash television. So like, I mean, but while watching that TV, it's like you constantly hear a song, and it's like, okay, someone working for that television show was like, here's a popular song. I'm just gonna switch the first and third chord or whatever, and like rip off. Like there's you hear songs, and you're like, I know exactly what song they're
the
ripping off.
credits on Shameless are a lot of good songs
Yeah.
that you wouldn't necessarily know.
But like hearing the song that they chose from us for that scene, I'm like, I really do appreciate that this music supervisor went out on a limb and like got us this money because if I was a person working for that show, I would have just played a similar chord progression and saved
Yeah,
the
in my
like $5
basement.
grand
Yeah.
Americans. So it's like it's
Fair.
great that they actually give a shit
Yeah.
enough to hire people for stuff like that, but like
That's cool, yeah.
it was hardly.
Well,
It
yeah,
was
it was
hardly
funny, so
audible.
We didn't know when it was going to be in the show, so we had, there was probably like 20 people at our house, and we had 20 shots of whiskey out on the table, and we're like, when the song comes on, we're all going to take this shot of whiskey. So we settle in,
Yeah, I don't
and then
think
it
we got
comes
them
on
poured.
like right away. So we all take the shot of whiskey, and then everyone's like kind of hammered, so we didn't even watch the episode. We were just like, well, the night's
Well,
done
the
now.
90 seconds is done. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Let's
Yeah.
go smoke a joint.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in between the two albums, that would have been when Dave joined the band? Because
Yeah.
he didn't perform on the first album.
That's
He
correct.
did not.
Yeah.
Our
Okay.
last show with Jill was actually our release show for High Hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I was getting at. That when did
Yeah.
she leave and when's Dave in? And
So yeah, she left. Fuck, it would have been November of 2016, like right when we released that album. And she told us. Well, actually, it would have been probably that partner show you were talking about earlier because we were playing with partner at the Pavilion, and Jill kind of walked off stage, and we had this fucking 6-week German tour booked.
Mm-hmm.
And we had been over there like a month or so earlier, and Jill just kind of walked off and was like, I just saw her looking out the window of the pavilion, and I was like, something's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
And the next day she came over and was just like, guys, I can't do it anymore. And you know, within 6 months had like moved to the States with her partner and stuff, but we knew she didn't want to tour for quite a while before that. But then like I feel like this big tour coming up where we were like a support slot for someone was really like making her quite anxious.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of like ripping around, and like, you know, it was initially, and it still is, like quite important that like our group is predominantly female, and we were just kind of like searching around for musicians, and it was before we had a lot of the connections we had now. And then, you know, Dave's name kind of came up, and I was like, well, I do love that guy.
Yeah,
and
I've
we
been
were just
such
like, we'll
a
try
fan
him
of
out.
his for like so long. I literally sent him a Facebook message, and we weren't good friends before this. Like, we were acquaintances, you know, and
we'd see him around.
you know, but like we weren't, you know, we never hung out one-on-one or like even hung out with a group of people really, unless it was like a party or a show.
Sure.
And I literally just sent him a Facebook message that said,
Want to go to Germany?
yeah, I just said, want to go to Germany, ? And he just knew, and he was like, fuck yeah.
Wow.
That was it. That was the whole conversation.
And like we didn't know at the time that his band Glory Hound was also like disbanding.
Yeah, I
So-
didn't realize he was in that band. I was
Yeah.
aware of them, but I like
Deep
Loaded Gun
dives
was awesome.
exposed some things.
So literally the same thing was happening to them, where their drummer like was like, I can't do this anymore, like I want to get married, I want to, you know, move on with my life.
John was awesome. I skateboard with him probably once a week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And they were just like, yeah, this is kind of the end of the line for this band as well. And it was just, honestly, it was just such a seamless transition. He came over, we started working on the songs. It felt really good. Obviously, just such a great guy to be around. And then touring
once
with
we
him
started to
was
get to know
like,
Dave, we were just like,
oh,
shit,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's like I
Gotta
said,
peel
with all
back
your
those
content
sneaky
online,
layers.
he
Yeah.
seems like he seamlessly fits in with you.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
funny, and like again, not to like.
He's
you know,
one of the guys, as it were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
he. It's so funny because Dave is so. I don't even know how to describe Dave. He's just like he's such a team player, and like. Like, let's be honest, I don't think a lot of dudes would just be like super gung-ho to be in a band full of women, but
But anyone with a set of nuts.
Well, that's the thing.
You know, I think without knowing him, he's probably very secure in himself.
Oh,
He is.
Knows who he is and doesn't
Yeah.
give a fuck what you think.
yeah, and he
It's-
like kind of like steps out the way and lets us, you know, handle ourselves. But there have been a few times where someone is being a dick, and Dave just turns into a fucking badass.
So
Dave, like there was,
testosterone starts pumping.
yeah, there was,
Yeah.
you know, there's been a few things I've seen. Like I remember being on tour when we were opening for the Headstones, and a lot of their like fan base is like really diehard, but like a little bit older, maybe a little more old school, and like just like getting conversation, like overhearing a conversation Dave was in outside, and someone being like, oh, so you're touring with a bunch of women, like what's that like? And Dave just being like, honestly, way fucking easier than touring with a bunch of hothead dudes. Or like, you know, like I remember when we were in where were we playing? Fredericton, when that guy got super creepy with all of us.
Yeah.
This guy was just trying to fuck all of us, and like just getting obviously rejected left, right, and center. And then we were all outside waiting in the van because we were like, we're not dealing with this guy anymore. And Dave comes out furious. He's like, you wouldn't believe what that guy said to me. And we're like, what? He's like, he literally looked at me and was like, you got to get your bitches under control. And Dave looked at him and was like, I'm going to beat the fucking shit out of you if you don't get out of my face right now. And I'm like, I love that Dave was just like so willing to keep the peace, but also ready to fucking beat some asses.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like
Yeah.
literally the same as us in so many
Yeah.
ways. You know, he's just like the nicest guy, cool, calm, and collected.
But will
like,
fucking
when
lose
it
it.
matters, it's on. Like
yeah. Yeah. We're all like that. We're pretty chill until we're super not chill.
Super not.
So he did have an opportunity to tour with you. You guys kind of had got your
Well,
whole
yeah, he did most
familiarity.
of the big. He did all of, I guess, except for our first time in Germany and going to Poland. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been with us on all our major tours and overseas. So yeah, we were on the Autobahn, going way too
Cool.
fast, And we played, all these shows. Dave's second show with us that he played was in Hamburg, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
we
a
played at the
whirlwind.
Seahorse, and then we flew straight to
Yeah.
Hamburg.
No way.
So it was like
what a
a
stark
whirlwind.
fucking difference.
Yeah. And just a few shows in, he, because we
Yeah,
didn't know what was going to happen.
We were just like, please come play
we
with us
were
in
just
Germany,
like, just
talented
do this
friend.
thing for us, and then we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. And he literally like turned around, and we were like kind of in the back, and he was in the
We were
front
like a
seat,
week into our tour.
and he
yeah.
was just like, so I'd like to ask to join the band.
and
And we were like, ah! Like we were just like,
yeah, and then our
Aw.
manager at the time almost fucking upended us on the Reaper Bond because
Yeah, 'cause he started crying.
I was like, this is a beautiful moment. We were just
That
like,
is a
is it?
beautiful
We're all
moment.
drunk.
Stop. Like,
Yeah.
can we just pull over for a second?
You guys are
You're
gonna make
kill
this
us.
old man
Yeah, we were
cry.
just, like
Yeah.
handing a bottle of wine around on the Reaper Bond
Yeah.
while he drove us around Germany.
The beautiful thing
Aw.
about the Reaper Bond is not that Dave has to be in the band.
It's that you can drink in the car.
And every gas station just has canned wine.
yeah,
It's ready for you.
and like really good food. It's not like egg salad
Right.
sandwich
No.
tour across Canada over there. It's like you go in, you get some schnitzel, you're
Yeah.
on your way.
Mhm.
We,
Damn.
we missed touring in Europe.
I bet. Would you go back in a blink?
Mm.
We are in the stages of signing with a new European agency right now.
Cool.
So hopefully once it gets opened up, we're hoping next fall we'll be over there again.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Man, I hope I can travel. Wow.
So do we.
Same.
Coming out of that stuff, you guys
Yeah.
would have been recording the new album that's out
Mm.
now. So, one question I had, and I know we didn't really talk about Michelle at all.
Yeah.
Like, and she's been there since day one with you. So, when you go into recording an album, like you would have with the current lineup,
Mhm.
every one of you does vocals on the album.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like watching videos and live performances and stuff,
Oh,
you start
shit,
to pick
sorry.
out whose voice is whose and everything. But Michelle's playing drums and singing, which is not uncommon, but anyone that sees it always is like impressed. Like, how can you be keeping the beat and off to the side singing at
Yeah.
the same time? So, does she? This is going to be a little ignorant on my end as a
No,
listener
let's
who's
hear
not
it.
always seeing it. Does she do most of the vocal? Like, I know you're always singing and you're always singing, but is she doing? Who's really? You don't really have a lead vocalist. You're kind
Yeah.
of all singing.
So, just to like kind of back it up to like the start of the
Absolutely,
band, if
Yeah.
that's
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
So when I first met Michelle, she was playing in a band called No Flyers Please. They were an amazing local band. They were my favorite band, and I would go to see them, and Michelle would sing like 2 songs the whole set. And I thought, man, this person has a really great voice. They're very talented. They can sing and play drums, but I don't understand why they're not singing more of the songs. And once we became acquainted, I asked them why this was happening, and they said, well, we only sing the songs we write in the band. So she'd
Okay.
only written these 2 songs, so those were the only songs she sang. And I thought, well, I'm looking to start a new band because I wanted to start a new project,
You
and I
fucking
thought,
rip,
well,
bud.
I am writing all these songs, but especially at the time, I didn't really think I had the chops to be a lead singer, and it wasn't really like what I wanted to do. I was more interested in the writing side of it, and I thought, well, I'd like to write songs, and I'd like someone to sing them. It seems like a really good match,
Right.
So I asked her, me and Jill had been writing these songs, I asked her to join the band, and that's kind of how that started. And then I think but even in the beginning, I was still singing like quite a lot of lead on, as you can hear, on like Motorpool, your new record.
Thank
Your
you.
new, very old record. So it kind of turned into this sort of thing where she sort of, we would consider her, I guess, the lead vocalist, but
The last album changed.
yeah, in every incarnation of this band, everyone has always sang. And it was something, I think that was at least important to me. Jill always sang. Jill has an amazing voice. And then when Katie joined the band, we immediately put you. No, but
I got put on scream duty.
yeah, but like
Yeah,
you
that's-
also
Yeah,
have a
but
great
dude,
voice.
you're
You have
so
a
fucking
unique,
good at it.
Yeah, you have a unique
I've played in
voice, and
Lab
you
band.
bring something to the table, and I think I really like bands like a lot of my favorite bands have multiple vocalists.
We love
Fleetwood
the
Mac, the
Pixies.
Pixies, all these bands that
Those
like a lot of
harmonies,
people
those
sing.
multi-level.
I'm a sucker
harmonies.
for harmonies.
Yeah.
Same.
And a lot
gang
It doesn't matter
vocals.
how good or bad the band is if they nail a harmony in one song.
Totally.
I'm a fan of that band.
And a lot of these
We'll
bands
take
will
it.
switch
Yeah.
off lead vocalists too, and I also
Right.
think that that's a really interesting thing. So, I think Michelle just had a really strong voice, like when we first started this band, and that was kind of, it was nice to put that on her. But I think like as time's gone on, it's just been important for everyone to sing and not sing what they write, like sing the best part for the person, find that part. So a lot of songs
perspective.
that I've written over the years, like especially on High Hopes, it's like Michelle's taking the lead.
Oh, I mean,
on
Dead
all
Broke,
those
it's like,
songs, yeah.
like Michelle wrote maybe like 6 lines of lyrics
Yeah.
on that whole album, but it's like, we kind of like write the songs and then like deliver them to her to be like the,
Cool.
Yeah.
the lead vocal or whatever,
And with you had mentioned that you were put on like the scream or like growl duty.
Yeah.
And even now that I'm picking it out, the difference, like there's a little bit of rasp to your voice with some of your vocals. And then you just switch to clean vocals sometimes too. And I noticed it more with No It's Fine. Which
Oh, yeah.
I kind of went deep diving because we had extra time.
Yeah.
And I went back and listened to all that stuff. And really good, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
But it was more apparent there because I was watching the video of you performing it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I go back and
She
listen to Like a
sings.
Motorcycle,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can hear both of it now.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure to pick out the different voices.
Well,
Totally,
especially
yeah.
on like Dead Broke, it's like a lot of the times like I was doubling Michelle's vocals and like instead of getting her to double them. So it's like, I can sing. But
Yes.
I live in rasp world for
It's
for
actually-
texture.
It's actually amazing to see the transition between the two vocal styles on
Yeah.
the fly. Like it
Your transitions are singer to singer.
yeah.
Your transitions are fucking.
because as a
flawless,
listener,
like.
you're
Take
not
it.
identifying that that's the same person.
Right.
Especially with 4 of you singing
Yeah.
on one song in some cases, right? Like,
Yeah, on most songs.
Yeah, like-
yeah. I think like on the record, it's like, I think everyone sings on every song, even
Yeah,
if it's just
there
like
you
a
go.
bit
Right.
of a backup thing that, but I'm pretty sure we all sang on every song on the record.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
let's listen to a song off
All
of the
right,
new
yeah.
record. What do you guys say we listen to a little Swept Out?
Good
Sure.
one, yeah.
Yeah? Well,
The slow jam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Put it
sock
on.
rock hit of the summer. Let's
right on. I don't think I need to introduce it any better than what you just did, Kim. Thank you.
It's no problem.
So right here, guys, a little Swept Out off of Like a Motorcycle's latest effort, October 30th, 29th, something like October 2020 anyway. Right here on your favorite podcast, Jam Sessions.